Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to rock. Okay, that was horrible. Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and not here, Johnny Woodard. He's not here, everybody. Don't pay attention. He's not here. Guys, real quick, go to SamTripoli.com. I have tons of events coming up, tons of dates. Next week, the 10th, 10/10, I'm at the Comedy Store with a murder lineup. Ooh. We just added Trevor Wallace to Russell Peters, Tony Rock, Amir K, Brandon Schaub, Josh Wolf, Jessime Peluso, murderers. Then I'm in Morris Plains on the 13th, actually the 12th, the 13th, and 14th. Then I'm in Thousand Oaks on the 19th. And then I just added on the 11th, November 3rd and November 4th, I'll be in Indianapolis and St. Louis, plus on November 10th, Bellflower, California. Go grab those tickets now. Support me, support you, supporting me, and go to samtripoli.com for all your needs. And that's about it. Very excited to have her on. She is she's a very, very thorough researcher, an amazing artist. Please welcome back to the show, Susan Harrell. How are you, Susan?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
So, Susan, for those who may not be familiar with your last appearance on the show, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Sure. My name is Susan Harrell. I am a visual artist living in Central North Carolina. I have been a photorealistic oil painter since around my early 20s. Photorealism is a genre of art where the artist studies a photograph and then attempts to reproduce it in another medium. With this photorealism requires the ability to pay close attention to fine details, details that might otherwise go unnoticed. My experience in the arts has cultivated this appreciation for subtle details and symbolism, which I believe has likely contributed to my understanding of the conspiracy that we find ourselves in. The arts has also drawn my attention to architecture and some famous public art with highly esoteric qualities. A sculpture that fits this genre would be Prometheus, which stands outside of Rockefeller Center. Hundreds of people skate around in front of Prometheus every year, unknowing to what that actually symbolizes. So if people had a better understanding of Greek mythology and symbolism, I think that they would have a better understanding of the world around them in general.
I love this because I think you're spot on everything you say. Real quick, do you have a website? Do you have Instagram? And then I'll make a comment on that real quick. Do you have any of those?
Right now, I'm just on Instagram, and I go by Suzie Q's, SUZIECUES_. And I am just getting ready to launch a Patreon, which will go by the same. I don't have a website or anything like that. I'm just a painter who has stumbled across this bizarre conspiracy.
Well, there is a website with your art, though.
Oh, yes. SusanHarrell.com, and that's HARRELL.com.
Okay, we want to make sure everyone can appreciate your work. So all those links are below. We will make sure to include them in the description. So I love what you're saying. I'm into everything that you're saying. I don't think so. Some people think everything's getting worse. I just think it's getting more obvious. That's a meme I saw. I don't know
Yes.
who came up with that meme, but that encapsulates exactly how I feel. That we are living in a time of great illumination, that everything is coming to the forefront, and they're freaking out. And for
Yes.
whatever reason, there's rules to the universe, and part of the rules is they have to tell us what they're doing so they don't get karma blowback. That's their rules. And, regardless of what you think of Q, and I'm fine with if you hate it, because I think it might have been Operation Trust, but the whole point of Operation Trust was that it had to give you real truth. It had to tell you the truth in order to capture a very paranoid segment of society. So, their symbolism is their downfall. That was from Q, and I do believe that to be true, and more stuff is coming out. And again, we do a lot of episodes on it, but I do believe that this is all God versus fallen angels. It's seen across all these different disciplines. We talk about it all the time. And that's why I think this is where we are right now. And I think people are starting to realize they have to start picking sides before it gets too late. So where do you want to start, Susan?
Yes, well, first of all, like I agree very much with what you just said. I think that people just now becoming aware of what's going on, but all of this has been going on the whole time. People are just kind of learning, and I think purposefully. I think the conspiracy is being revealed purposefully. So with my work, I cover a lot of really strange numerology, which kind of demonstrates that the elite are indeed practicing an ancient cult religion, which revolves around a lot of astrology. So one that I recently discovered was Donald Trump announced that he was running for president 666 days after his last full day as president. And this was also 666 days before 9/11, 2024. So that's, that's kind of what a coincidence. And then hours after he made this announcement, NASA announced that they were going to the moon on the rocket named Artemis. Now, Artemis is the twin of Apollo. And what's interesting about that is Donald Trump has a large mural of Apollo in his penthouse. He has a 66 floor penthouse at Trump Tower. But Trump Tower doesn't have 66 floors. So to me, that kind of indicates his interest in numerology right there.
I think it's interesting. I think this is all very interesting. I think astrology, they always say millionaires study the market, billionaires study the stars. We've said that before on the show.
Yes,
and I think that is it. I think there is a religion, whatever it may be, of the elites. There is astrology in the Bible. We've had guests come on and talk about that, numerology and all that stuff. I think if people dismiss that as dark arts and stuff like that, I think you're missing on. And even if you think it's dark arts, that's fine. But just know that that's what they believe. And you have to study what they believe to understand what they're doing.
Right. Well, I think it's very important to distinguish the practice of worshiping astrology and being aware of astronomy, which is two very, very different things. So the Bible is basically more in the lines of astronomy, being aware of the stars, and astrology is more the practice of what the elite get into, which is they believe they're harnessing the power of the stars and worshiping the stars as entities. So that's two very, very different ways to view the planets and stars. And another thing to note about this number of 666 is people don't understand that this is an ancient number, a significant number related to Kabbalah. It's kind of become a mockery in modern times because they use it kind of carelessly in music videos and this kind of thing. But it relates back to King Solomon's temple. So King Solomon received 666 talents per year. So I believe this is why 666 is a significant number to Freemasonry. You might recall that George Washington's obelisk, whenever I first started digging into this kind of stuff, the measurements for George Washington's obelisk, which is Osiris symbolism, was 6,666 inches tall by 666 inches wide. So they kind of always cryptically encode this Masonic numerology into a lot of things. The Kaaba in Mecca,
yes.
which I believe is just Saturn symbolism.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they even march around. It's a black cube. So
it is the black cube, which is 100%.
Right, it is the black cube. Right. And the black cube comes from, there's a hexagon-shaped storm on the North Pole of Saturn. And a hexagon is a two-dimensional cube. So, in Freemasonry, you'll see the Seal of Solomon very often, which is what we know of, which most people recognize as the Star of David. Well, there is no actual Star of David. This is a esoteric symbol used in witchcraft, and it's up triangle merged with a down triangle, and the shape that's created in the center is the hexagon or a cube.
Yeah.
So in Freemasonry and Kabbalah, you guys know this. Like their whole religion is based on Baphomet. So just about every single symbol in Freemasonry is actually referring to Baphomet. So, Masonry has the twin pillars. The pillars represent male and female. The Star of David or the Seal of Solomon is two triangles. One, the male is the up triangle, and then the down triangle is the, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. The up triangle is female, the down triangle is male. And whenever you merge them, you create perfect balance, which creates God. And in their religion, balancing male and female is how you create God. So God is the cube created in the center. So the Kaaba in Mecca, I believe, is just symbolic of this. Saturn symbolism. And if you take on a laptop from Google Earth, drop a pin on the center of the cube and measure to the Dome of the Rock, which is where Solomon's temple supposedly was, it's exactly 6,666.66 nautical miles.
Oh,
What?
Exactly.
That can't be a coincidence.
Exactly.
That can't be a coincidence. Like when you go point like decimals, that's just like
No, there's no way that's a coincidence. And to make things even more interesting, Donald Trump, he's kind of surrounded by Kabbalists. Like his daughter wears the Kabbalah red string, and they attend Chabad. They're clearly practicing Kabbalah. Donald Trump's greatest influence was a man named Norman Vincent Peale, who was a Scottish Rite Knights Templar. And he was supposedly a pastor. Well, these are two very, very conflicting ideologies. And the Knights Templar go all the way back to these temples, Solomon's Temple. And the interesting thing about Solomon's Temple is that the most significant Jewish holiday is a holiday called Tisha B'Av. And Tisha B'Av is the day that both the first and second temple were destroyed. Tisha B'Av translates to 9/11.
What?
Yes.
So explain that to me again. What was
all right. Okay, so Freemasonry is all about rebuilding Solomon's temple. That's like, to sum it up. In every single Masonic lodge, you'll find the twin pillars of Solomon's temple represent Joachim and Boaz. Esoterically, represent male and female. So, their whole religion is Baphomet. Baphomet is a symbol of the Knights Templar. And interesting about the word Baphomet, historically, it's believed that Baphomet is another name for Muhammad.
Oh,
so,
oh my God!
So whenever we start
learn that,
just reading about the Templars, it's an ancient name for Muhammad. So personally, I believe that Islam was created as a adversarial religion to pit against the Christian West, to create that conflict.
There is a discussion that Muhammad is related to Queen Elizabeth.
That would make sense.
That she actually bragged about that. That she was
really
to them. Yeah, she said she is related to the Prophet Muhammad, which is very interesting. Now, again, I'm always like live and let live. That's not my necessarily telling people how to live their life or anything like that. But there is some interesting, weird relationships to the British royals who aren't really British royals. They're more of German descent, which is just layer upon layer upon layer of just the inversion that we go through, which is kind of crazy.
Right. And this is where understanding symbolism is so important, because if you notice, in the royal family, all of their symbols are identical to Masonic symbols. And the queen wears a Templar cross right on her crown. And to go back to what we were talking about before, because this I feel like is really, really important. When we're talking about the Knights Templar, they were the protectors of Solomon's temple. And Solomon's temple was destroyed on Tisha B'Av. They say that it was destroyed, the first temple and the second temple, on the same day. And Tish is the 9th day and Av is 11. So it translates to 9/11. And, fast forward to our events, the Twin Towers, if you look at the footprint of the Twin Towers of Ground Zero, it's building number 7 was actually technically called the Solomon Brothers Building. And then out in front of the Solomon building number 7, you have these 2 twin pillars representing male, female, Joachim, Boaz.
Oh gosh. This is nuts.
And they started construction for the Twin Towers in 1968, and they fell 33 years later. So the highest degree in Freemasonry is 33 degrees, and it's all, Masonry is all Luciferianism.
You're so right. Building 7 World Center, exclusively renovated to accommodate the Solomon Brothers. Holy cow. Solomon
right.
Brothers
and then
building World Trade Center 7. Holy cow.
And then, what I find really, really interesting is that the man who constructed, the architect who built the Twin Towers, I believe they make up their birth and death dates to fit. I believe they truly believe in the power of
numbers,
right? Because the world was intelligently designed to do that, and they believe if they harness that, then they can, manifest the world that they would like to create. And they perform these rituals over us in this way. So the guy who designed the Twin Towers would have turned 88 years, 9 months, and 11 days on 9/11. The man who owns the Twin Towers, Larry Silverstein, turned 88 years, 9 months, and 11 days the day that the WHO declared Corona a global pandemic. So to sum up what my presentation is to kind of show evidence that 9/11 and Corona and the new king, the coronation of King Charles is all one long Cabalistic ritual that's tied together.
Oh, tell me about it. Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends, James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Listen, everybody, we've seen so many people making ridiculous money in crypto, but did you know it's easy for you to do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the coins that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy him, okay? It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know anything about crypto or how to invest. You simply do what he does. So let me tell you about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 26,000 subscribers. Since 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put in $100 into each one, it went on to be worth $120,000. Of the 26 coins, his top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is all public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then stop what you're doing right now and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but my listeners gain full access for just $1. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. The recession is here, guys. You can suffer like everyone else or choose to thrive. James is a real deal. Go visit his site now.
Okay. So, all right. If you look at the Kabbalah tree of life, there are 22 paths. And the top Sephirot, do you know what the Sephirots are?
No.
Okay, so there's Sephirots, there's 10 Sephirot on the tree of life, and these are like points of illumination. And as you work your way through this tree, the very top one on the tree of life is called Keter, which means crown. Okay. So I believe that the royal family is actually just symbolic of this tree of life. This year, King Charles was crowned, which was 22 years after 9/11. The global pandemic officially ended on the eve of his coronation. And there was a full moon.
Crazy. That's so crazy.
Right. And then you get into the naming of coronavirus. The scientists that named the coronavirus named it in 1968. That's the year they started construction on the Twin Towers. The same year. And it's also the year that, I believe this is all about human DNA, because I believe rebuilding Solomon's temple to a mason is not just the physical structure. I believe that they are rebuilding Solomon's temple, which is man, because the Bible tells us that we are the temple of God. That's why in Christianity, you don't really support the building of a temple, a physical temple, because they're going to carry out sacrifices at this temple. And that's not in Christian ideology. Because
no, you're totally right.
That's what Christ came to do, was to be the final atonement sacrifice. So there's no more need for sacrifice.
And then we get into, if you believe in the Great Flood and there's scientific evidence of a Great Flood, okay, and there's talk of, see, this is my whole problem I have with so many different people that, are atheist and all this stuff, and when they tend to cite the reasons they don't believe in God, and it's always Christians, it's always Christian, dogma, Christian, the Bible, all this stuff. But what they don't realize is, like, the stories that they have problems with are basically told through many different philosophies and disciplines. So if you want to talk about the fallen angels and all that stuff, that's across many different, even Native American philosophies talk about fallen angels. And the flood is scientifically proven to have happened. Okay. So we know that happened. Some great event happened, destroyed everybody, whatever they want to call it, something driest or whatever it's called. Youngest, driest, or whatever.
Right.
They love to come up with scientific explanations for things that are in the Bible. Like, it's not the firmament, it's, the Van Allen belt, stuff like that. Yeah. That's what they like to do. So, so they'll be like, oh, God didn't flood, asteroids hit the planet and Fugazi'd everything, right? That's what they want to do. But if we want to get into a biblical look at the floods, why did God flood the planet? Well, because the fallen angels had come down, mated with the daughters of men, and started creating Nephilims. And these Nephilims, they mated with more daughters of men and destroyed the DNA, God's sacred DNA. So then you get into, like, what is going on. And it's an argument I had with my friend Brian Callen about mRNA and what that's doing, which is gene splicing, okay, which is gene editing, which is DNA editing. So, like, here we are again with these fallen angel worshipers, these watcher worshipers, trying once again to destroy God's DNA. I mean, you guys can sit there and fight it all you want, but it's like you just keep looking for scientific explanation to biblical events, and that's where they are.
So would you be saying that there might be a new flood coming? Like, 100%. In a way?
100%. And I forget the name of these people, but they're called, like, the Jonas or the Jophers or the sons of Jafar or something like that. I saw, and somebody sent to me. Hold on. Let me find my buddy JP. He sent me this. Let me find JP. Okay, here we go. Let me find this real quick. The prodigy of Jove, Gove. They talk about the next great flood.
Go ahead.
And by the way, California and Arizona, bye-bye. California, Nevada, bye-bye, bye-bye. I'm trying to figure out the land place so I can move the kids to there. But it's like it's in the Midwest is the best. You got to go there. Everything else is gonna get flooded out.
I mean, you know what else I've been hearing about? The seven trumpets. A lot of people have been hearing these noises that make random noises in the middle of nowhere. And if the seven trumpets come by, you get to hear them. That is the prophecy is something. The apocalypse is coming. So it is a possibility. You've heard of the trumpets, right? You've never heard of people just hearing these random noises in the middle of nowhere. It sounds like it's coming from here. It's coming from nowhere. Yes. And it's just these noises. And they're saying it's the seven sounds of the trumpets that is said to be said in the prophecy.
Tino Sanchez from Tinfoil Hat, he talks about how all of this is biblical. That's all in the end of days in the Bible, what's going on right now.
Yeah, yes, I agree. But I also feel like there's another level of manipulation that's going on here. because Masonry plays off the dark adversary, there's light and dark Masonry. So, I mean, everybody's heard the phrase, two wings, one bird, which is, the symbol of the Scottish Rite is the two-headed bird. I personally believe that Biden is playing this dark adversarial role that is scaring everyone and doing a really good job of it, to the light side of Masonry. And I believe Donald Trump is their chosen quote unquote savior figure. So I believe that Christians are being manipulated to believe that the end of the world is here, and they're kind of primed for a savior figure. And I believe the system is going to try to offer them that savior figure, most likely coming in a political form. But this is all part of the very grand deception that's been brewing for hundreds of years and is just kind of coming to a climax now. And we're living through it.
And we're living through it. It's so crazy.
It's so incredible. Like I know a lot of people, some who follow my work, they feel very depressed and overwhelmed. And, the more things get revealed, you're like, this is, everything is just so unbelievably psychotic. And then you learn that the elite are truly practicing Satanism. And that's a hard thing to process and live with, to go day to day in your normal world like everything's normal whenever you know that it's not.
You're totally right.
But in my mind, I feel like I'm in an adventure. It's exciting to me because we have so much material to work with. Never before have we been able to piece together this amount of information and expose what's been going on this whole time. So I think it's wonderful. I'm not depressed about it at all.
I think there's a lot that is going down. And I personally believe that these elites, they worship the ruler of this realm, which is Satan. That's in the Bible. Satan rules this realm. They worship those people that they've been trapped here. Again, that is across multiple disciplines. Vedic astrology, Hinduism, all talk about the one God trapping entities in this realm. Okay. And they worship these fallen angels. And that's why you have so many atheists going, well, if God is love, why does he let this happen to this person and this person and this person? And I get the pain, but it's just super crazy. But God created this realm for consequences. Right. And that's his idea. And it's out of my powers to truly try to understand that. And that sounds like maybe defeatism, but I just think there's a bigger plan here. So people need to understand that. So then you start getting into this depression where all this darkness and all this is going on. And I've always said this forever. It will be dark before there is light. It is always dark before there is light. That's just life. And that this is because nobody is bigger than the rules of the universe except for God. And God created these rules and and the rule is love. Okay. And those who give love receive love, and those who put out pain receive pain. And it's all coming to a head right now. And that's what I truly do believe, that we're going to go through this craziness and then we're going to get to an amazing place. That's what I hope. We'll see if I'm wrong, or it could be the great ending. And then those who are God's chosen people go to heaven, and then we'll see what happens after that. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I very much agree. And I'm also really interested in the theory that we are living in the little season. I don't know if you're aware of that phrase, but in the Bible, it speaks of a time where Satan is released from the bottomless pit and is allowed to rule over the earth for one last time before God comes and banishes him forever. And I believe that's the time that we are in. But it's very controversial because it also requires the belief that Jesus Christ has already returned long ago, which people who follow this train of thought would say that Jesus' return came in the millennial reign, which would have been what they call the Dark Ages. So, it's interesting to me that all this incredible architecture and, you see these cathedrals that are just mind-boggling, and a lot of this stuff came out of the Dark Ages. Well, wouldn't it be just perfect for them to invert the time that Jesus was actually on Earth and call it the Dark Ages as a way to manipulate where people believe we are in biblical prophecy.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, it explains a lot to me, because whenever you truly understand what's going on here with the elite, it's so clearly demonically inspired. You can't sum up what Jeff Bezos and Gates are doing by just greed. There's something more to it.
I totally agree with
what drives them.
So what year do you think it really is?
I think we're like 1,000 years off.
1,000 year? Is it 3,023 or is it 1023?
Yeah, backwards.
I've heard that before. They've added 1,000 years. That's really 1023.
Yes. Yeah. But this is all just things to contemplate.
Do you think they made that? Do you think they made the eras longer in general, or you think they just added years? Do you get what I'm trying to say? You think they made like the medieval times a little longer, or
do you think they're speeding up time?
Yeah,
like, because everyone thinks like everybody. It's so funny when you look at pictures from the past, like a 22-year-old from the 1800s looks like it could be the parent of a 22-year-old today. But I'm wondering if the days and times are different, that they're not actually the same 22-year-old, that maybe they sped up time, and that the 22-year-old today is really a 8-year-old from way back in the day.
Yeah, that's an interesting
or 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 15-year-old, something.
Yeah, I think most people believe that time is moving faster. It feels that way to most people. But we're also much more aware of what time it is all the time, because we have these smartphone devices, and we're, just looking at the clock a lot more than we were doing 100 years ago. So that could contribute to us feeling like time's moving faster, and our days are just so busy. That might make things feel like time's moving faster, or time might actually be moving faster. I don't know.
Johnny thinks time's moving faster, that they're stealing time.
Well, maybe.
Johnny's got AIDS, so he can't talk right now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, Johnny's got full-blown AIDS. So he can't talk right now. But he thinks they're stealing time, and that's why everybody's seeing the days seem to be flying quicker and quicker and quicker.
Right. Well, Saturn is known as the god of time, and that's their god. So
yeah, Time Magazine, all that stuff. And it's so funny because we haven't done a good Saturn show in a long time, but it's like all people just have no clue what is going on. Like when everyone is everything a conspiracy, 100% everything is a conspiracy. It just seems overwhelming at first. Nobody's asking you to understand all of it at one time. Just start really simple. It's like they say this with jujitsu, right? Like jujitsu seems like Chinese when you show up. But as you start to slowly do it over time, you start to understand the moves and why everybody does what they do. So it's like that's conspiracy. Start with a simple thing like JFK. Now there's layers of JFK, but just get to the point where you go, oh, it's not Lee Harvey Oswald. It was most likely the U.S. government with a couple other countries, either assassinating the president or giving the perception of assassination, and to cause mass trauma on a global level.
Right. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, 9/11 is that little event that lets them know that something that we're not being told the accurate story of what's going on here, building number 7 specifically.
Dude, that's Solomon's Brothers thing.
Solomon's Temple
blew my mind. Just blew my mind. And then you go, there's layers upon layers upon layers to 9/11, right? Like they had, like when you look at the JFK assassination, regardless of whatever's happening there, okay, they had to make sure that got pulled off. And whatever, whether it's JFK faking his assassination or the powers that be assassinating him, and the Rothschild, I think her name is Elizabeth or whatever Rothschild, who is the babushka lady, is sitting right there watching the whole thing, surrounded by CIA agents. I mean, it's absolutely incredible to me. Okay, absolutely incredible. But 9/11 is a great example of that as well. Like the layers upon layers upon layers that they made sure that thing there's nothing left standing, which is right. Operation Northwood. They probably flew drones into those buildings. They laid down the foundation of terrorists hanging out with strippers, doing coke, making bad decisions, then deciding to fly planes that they weren't actually capable of flying, which becomes nonlinear warfare, right? So now everyone's arguing about whether the terrorists could actually fly those planes. That begins to divide us. Then they fly the drones into the plane perfectly. Now we get into holograms. These are holograms. Then you have the dancing Israelis who had chances to fill up the elevators. They were supposed to be there to fix the elevators for 4 years. For 4 years. That's a lot of time to line that thing up with fucking explosives. Okay. So they line that up with explosives. So then they explode that shit. And then guess what? Now they're hitting it with fucking frequencies from weather to evaporate the motherfucker. So that's, I mean, layers upon layers upon layers upon layers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And, just 9/11 is such an interesting number related to the occult and masonry. I don't know if you know, but the first victim of 9/11 was a Israeli who was an ex-IDF member who was sitting in seat 9, flight 11, and the pilot that was supposedly the terrorist.
Did you just say? What did you just say?
It gets way better than that. Okay, so all right, so it all breaks down to astrology, and we can get into that further. But Putin invaded the Ukraine 9 months and 11 days after Israel's founding date. Okay, in the year 2021. The first official victim of 9/11 was an Israeli sitting in seat 9, flight 11. He was supposedly born on Israel's founding date, May 14. On the day that Putin invaded Ukraine, a never before seen footage of 9/11 went viral on YouTube. Did you guys see that?
No, what was it?
There was never before seen footage of 9/11 that went viral on YouTube, made national headlines the day that Putin invaded the Ukraine. And it's had like over 6 million views now. And it was a footage of the second plane hitting the tower. So the man who was the first official victim of 9/11, his name is Daniel Lewin, and he was supposedly killed by a terrorist named Satan. Satam. Sounds a lot like Satan.
Oh,
Are you the great the great adversary in Kabbalah. And then on top of that, do you remember the miracle passport that was found?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It belonged to Satan. The terrorist who killed the first official victim of 9/11.
Oh my God. What?
I mean, what a tall tale that is, you know.
Oh my, I have to look this up. Passport.
And it's in like pristine condition. So the plane explodes this enormous fireball. And somehow this passport, you know.
Oh shit, it is.
Oh,
Magic.
man. You're totally right.
Look at his name.
Oh, holy cow. Holy cow.
Yep.
Dude,
And
that is
so
nuts.
in Kabbalah, or Freemasonry, they play off, you know, like the sun, the light, and the dark. Saturn was considered the furthest, darkest planet at the, you know, in ancient times. So therefore, it was equated with Satan. It's a completely different ideology. You know, it's in occultism. In Christianity, basically, you understand that man is flawed, and we all have a dark side, and we have to deal with it. But you attempt to minimize it. Well, in their worldview, and this is why it's all kept secret, because it's so nutty. In their worldview, you work to foster your dark side, and you work to use it power. So it's all about balancing. Like all of their symbols represent this yin yang, the male and female, Baphomet, balancing of the male and female energy. That's how you reach godhood, is by whenever you can balance your wicked and your good. You know, it's Aleister Crowley's "Do What Thou Wilt." And I personally believe that the elite are all Thelemites. They're following Crowley.
Hey guys, real quick, I'll tell you about our friends at Factor. That's right. With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyles. Too busy to cook this fall, but want to make sure you're eating well? With Factor, skip the extra trips to the grocery store and the chopping, the prepping, and the cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor of fresh, never frozen meals are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy, then go back to crushing your goals. Level up your gourmet plus options, prepared to perfection by chefs and ready to eat in record time. Treat yourself to upscale meals with premium ingredients like broccoli, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus. Too busy running during the day to think about lunch? Keep your energy up with Lunch to Go. Effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls and salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required. Need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best as you tackle your busy autumn? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein per serving. So here's what we need you to go. This October, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meal, enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Okay, so here's what we need you to do. Head to factormeals.com/tinfoil50. Use the code tinfoil50 to get 50% off. That's code tinfoil50 at factormeals.com/tinfoil to get 50% off. Everybody thinks Nimrod is the Antichrist. Part of me thinks Aleister Crowley might be along the lines of that.
Well, I think that Crowley just carried the spirit of Antichrist, and he shows up in all kinds of figures. Like before him was Helena Blavatsky, which, you know, the UN's religious branch was all based on her religion, which was satanic. Her and Alice Bailey. So, you know, if you look at the events of 9/11, Aleister Crowley's religion is called Thelema, but it's known as 93. So the number 93 is shows up all the time in pop culture related to Satanism. Most significantly, you guys probably saw that, you know, this one called Marina Abramovich.
Yes, like the woman who just got named the spokesperson for the Ukraine, which is insanity. Exactly. And I have a theory I want to talk to you about too after that.
Okay, well, I believe they're using this. Her work is just so blatant. I believe they're using this as part of the propaganda to further divide the left and the right. And they're trying to create the narrative that the left is satanic and evil, and the right is being conflated with saving the children, stopping human trafficking, and is going to come in and fix all the horrific damage that Biden has done. So they are trying to make Biden and everything Biden is involved in to be as bad as possible. And this is what I believed would happen before Biden even got into office. I believe the figure that they put in place as president would do exactly what Biden's done, to scare people. But Marina Abramovich, 4 months before, she's from the Ukraine, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right. The Ukraine is very significant to our story. 4 months before Putin invaded the Ukraine, Abramovich unveiled a piece of public art that was called the Crying Wall of Crystals. And it was supposed to be an extension of the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. So that ties us back to Solomon's Temple. Marina Abramovich also wears a Templar cross, and she lives in a 6-pointed star house.
Is that the artwork?
That's the artwork. Now, occultists believe in harnessing the power of energy in crystals and this kind of thing, you know. So
that guy's haircut needs some crystal help. Jeez.
So the thing about this wall is there's 93 crystals.
Oh my!
And Marina Abramovich is associated. She's at Y93. You know, she's associated with Jay-Z, who is a Thelemite. You know, he pretty openly demonstrates his interest in Aleister Crowley. And Marina Abramovich is hosted by an art gallery who the art gallery also hosts the artist that painted Obama's really creepy presidential portrait. You know, the one where he's sitting in front of leaves?
Yeah.
Well, that portrait has a cryptic 666 over his head.
Oh, look that up, bro. Look that up. Obama sitting leaves.
Yeah, I think if you type 666, it'll come in. I have one of those images that shows it.
I mean, did Johnny, I don't know if Johnny's still here. He's not feeling well.
I'm looking it up. I got it right here.
Okay.
But when conservatives point to Marina Abramovich, they call her satanic. And, you know, we have this photo of her standing with Jacob Rothschild in front of a painting called Satan Summoning His Legions. Now, how do you, how do you excuse that? Like, why did they do that? To me, it seems pretty obvious that they are trying to paint the narrative that she is, to equate the left and everything the left is doing with Satanism, whenever conservatives don't actually understand what Satanism is. I've seen it shared many times that Marina lives in a pentagram house, Well, whenever you actually research the house, it's publicized that it's a 6-pointed star, which is the seal of Solomon. And then she wears a Templar cross, which is another reference to Solomon. Okay, so I believe she is a Thelemite that is involved in Masonry. There's tons and tons of Masonic symbolism surrounding her work. And it's really important to distinguish between this, because whenever you understand what Satanism truly is, you figure out and learn that it's not just one side of the political realm. It's both, which is scary for people.
Yeah, I mean, because we live in a time, we're entering a time where there are no rules. And like, I have a bunch of people who are my age and older that refuse to understand that the Democratic Party is the same as the Republican Party. And then there's people who think the Republican Party is saviors when it's like just as bad as the Democratic Party. They just play the game. It's like back and forth. So let me ask you a question here. What are your thoughts on Zelensky talking about how, the Ukraine is the new Israel. Maria Abramovich is the spokesperson. Is there any argument that maybe they're trying to bring back Khazaria?
Oh, possibly. A good city to look up is a city called Astana, Kazakhstan. In my mind, it is the most Masonic place on earth. It's unbelievable. How do you
spell that? Because neither him nor I can spell what. How do you spell that name?
It's Astana. Type in Kazakhstan. You have to look this up because it's mind blowing. The capital city of Kazakhstan.
Yeah, just here it is. Here's the spelling: Estonia, Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan. Is that it?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Now, right. You see the twin pillars?
Yep.
They have giant twin pillars. There's a giant pyramid. That image right there. This other tall structure is symbolic of the tree of life. See, that's symbolic of the tree of life right there.
Wow.
And this is where the Pope has been meeting with all the world leaders in his efforts to create this new one world religion. Wow. And the Jesuits are the Knights Templar were created by the Catholic Church. It's a military order created by the Pope, and it has since been now it's just associated with Freemasonry. So I visit these locations myself to see them for myself and take photographs of them. So I toured the Scottish Rite headquarters, and I toured Washington's Masonic Memorial, and the very, very top of this structure is a floor totally dedicated to the Knights Templar. And the tour guide told me that what is her name? Natalie Portman had requested to sleep there because she was so fascinated with it. So whenever you go and look at these actual sites for yourself and you understand, you have a base level understanding of symbolism, you see that it's telling you a story of a plan. And it involves a pandemic that, very, very similar to what we find ourselves in. And this would probably be a good entry point to relate this back to 9/11. Coronavirus is named after corona occurs during a total solar eclipse. So the eclipse is a very, very significant symbol in Masonry because it's yet again Baphomet. It's male merging with female, dark merging with light. We are currently in between two historic total solar eclipses. These two eclipses will form a giant X over the United States. In the center point of this X is a town known as Little Egypt. The first eclipse occurred in 2017. The next eclipse is going to occur on April 8th, 2024. The most interesting thing about these eclipses are there are 6 years, 6 months, 6 weeks, and 6 days between the eclipses.
What are you talking about? What?
There hasn't been a equivalent eclipse since the Spanish flu of 1918. And here we are in between these two eclipses with another pandemic. Now, the very first vaccine for the coronavirus, which refers to an eclipse, was given at the exact halfway point between the two eclipses on December 14, 2020. That's whenever they started giving out this shot. Exactly between the eclipses.
When was the first eclipse again?
August 21st, 2017. The second eclipse in 2024. And on December 14th, 2020, that was exactly between the two eclipses, they started giving out the COVID vaccine. Now, because I know these guys are so super obsessed with numerology, I wanted to know how old Donald Trump was whenever he turned 666 months, what date that would be. It was the same date of 2001 when the twins came down.
No.
Shut up.
December 14th. He turned exactly 666 months.
Hold on. On 9/11, he turned 666 months.
No, in 2001, on December 14 is whenever they rolled out the coronavirus jabs.
Okay.
They started giving out the shots.
Okay.
But in 2001, December 14, Donald Trump turned exactly 666 months old.
Oh my God.
And on top of that, if you look up the vaccine, the customer service number, both Moderna and Pfizer have 666 in their customer service numbers.
What?
If you want to call Larry Silverstein Properties, the guy who owns the Twin Towers, he has 666 in his phone number. The construction company that built the Twin Towers also built 666 Fifth Avenue that Jared Kushner bought. And he bought it for the numerology because he's a Kabbalist. And because I don't pick on Biden as much as I pick on Trump. And the reason is because Biden's not fooling anybody. Nobody's going to be supporting Biden. Biden doesn't have influence over us. Donald Trump does, though, because Donald Trump looks very appealing right now.
All this is theater, right? Do you think it's, like the most
it's
elaborate
just
theater? After Q, I was like, dude, they could pull off anything. They could pull off any elaborate prank, hoax, whatever they want after that.
Right.
It's
I believe it's definitely theater. Like, I believe that Donald
theater.
Trump was born. His mother was Elizabeth Christ Trump, who died on 6/6/66, June 6 of 66.
Well, but so does Trump know he's in on it? Like, he completely understands that that's his part, that's his job?
Yes. I believe he does. I believe he was born to do this manipulation. Operation Warp Speed is his doing.
I mean, he did help with
and
the
if you-
January 6th as well. The January 6th, he did participate and make people go in there, which made it, yeah.
Yes, and if you look at the logo for Operation Warp Speed, it's a cube. And if you notice, Donald Trump always has his hand in this position, making the triangle, which is the symbol for female energy. Well, Donald Trump has a very aggressive male, strong personality. So I believe that's why he holds his hands in the female personality, because he's then merging his male energy with female energy, creating godhood. And if you look up Trump Tower has this same down angled triangle worked into the design. And it's also made up of 6 levels on each side of the triangle. So there's a cryptic 666 in Trump Tower in that. Do you see the little right there? Yeah. See, there's 6 steps on each side of that triangle.
Yep.
And Trump Tower is 664 feet tall, and I guarantee it's really 666.
Oh,
Seems a bit much for coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. There are 2.
Now, whenever Trump was running for office, he has a team, and everyone surrounding him were wearing little upside down triangles on their suits. And people in the media were asking questions of what that meant. They didn't have any, the excuse was it was just a way to identify who was with Trump. But I don't believe that. I believe that is his occult symbol for manifesting that type of energy. Because these occultists believe this stuff, like if you watch this last Super Bowl with Rihanna, at the very end of her performance, she held up the triangle of manifestation over the audience.
And they didn't show it. They didn't show it on TV, though.
They didn't show it on TV.
No, you can see it on people's TikToks and people's, it was more like a Instagram thing, but the TV took that off.
Yeah. Yeah. And she has Isis tattooed on her chest. And Isis is the wife of Osiris. Now, I had a really, really strange thing happen to me because I toured Washington's Masonic Memorial. And because I toured it, I had to give them my name and address, which I wasn't super excited about, but I did it because it was worth it. And coincidentally, I got a piece of mail from them. And it turns out that they were celebrating their 100th anniversary of their cornerstone laying, which occurred in 1923. So 100 years later, they were going to do a celebration of this cornerstone event. Now, the cornerstone is just a cube. Okay, so it's symbolic of their cube worship, which is a perversion of the Bible, because in the Bible, Christ is known as our cornerstone. And the occult perverts, flips everything that's in the Bible. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Masonry, the cornerstone laying event comes from Freemasonry. Now get this. After Rihanna does her thing, where she's also pregnant, which is symbolic of the goddess Ishtar. Rihanna, Ishtar is also known as Ayana. So it's spelled almost exactly alike. Right after she does this, the very first commercial after that is a woman.
Rihanna, Ayana. Ah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And she has Isis tattooed on her chest. So right after she flashes that that triangle over the audience, the very first commercial is a woman representing some sort of like a flag football league, and she's wearing number 33. Okay. So just a couple days after Rihanna performs, she shares her birth date with the 100th anniversary of the Cornerstone laying ritual at Washington's Masonic Memorial.
So, and they know these dates, or they just be doing what they're told?
No. They definitely know these dates. Like George Washington became president on April 30. That's whenever the Church of Satan was founded. And
What?
That's when Hitler died. And then if you look at the Church of Satan, if you go into their website, top satanic numbers are 9, 11, Baphomet. And of course, there's a degree in the Church of Satan called a Maga, MAGA.
What?
And MAGA in almost every language translates to magic or some variation of the word magician. And I believe that Trump truly is that's what these guys believe. They believe they can manipulate through energy. That's what's taught in the highest levels of Freemasonry. They all believe that they're wizards.
Sorcerers.
Sorcerers.
But let me ask you something. Do you think you can manipulate energy?
I think that that's like a yes or no answer, because I believe that we are all channelers. So we're either going to channel. Personally, I'm Christian, so I believe we're either channeling the good God from the Bible, or we're going to channel the opposite of that, which is the devil. And these folks truly believe that it's the pathway to enlightenment is learning how to balance both the dark and light in this world. So I believe that the devil works on a reward system. So if you believe in manifestation and you start heading down this pathway, this new age pathway, which is kind of like a slippery slope, I believe that the devil gives us little rewards along the way where things kind of confirm your efforts. And it's ultimately just tricks that the devils play. But by the time you're a 30th degree Freemason and you have done this practice, it's been confirmed in your mind that what you're doing actually works. So it's hard to answer, because yes, I believe it actually works. I believe that these folks can really do things that would blow our minds, but I also believe that it's the trick of the devil, which just gets people. Occultism is very, very attractive and appealing because there is a lot of truth to it. And that's one reason why Masonry is so prolific, is because you start getting into these degrees, you start learning about the world and things about the world that are very true that the average citizen has no idea about. Like, for instance, that there is actually a real pattern and design to the stars. So if you go into Washington's Masonic Memorial, there's 2 pillars sitting on a chair that he sat in. And on each of these pillars,
who's he?
George Washington.
Okay.
Each of these pillars, there's a globe sitting on top of the pillars. And one is a globe of the earth, and the other one is a globe representing the zodiac. Okay, so this speaks to their religion of following astrology. And this would be a good place to kind of pivot back to the royal family, because I believe that they are like the top of Freemasonry. The Queen's cousin is the current Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of England. He's basically the top person on all of Freemasonry. So all of the royal family has been involved in Masonry all along. That's what I believe it is. Not long before the Queen died, you may have seen a video that she celebrated her Jubilee, and they were outside, and there was this strange box with a light on top of it. She goes over and hits this box. It illuminates, and then there are two or three strands of lights shone out across the grand landscape that connect to a tree, which symbolized the tree of life. So this, if you look it up, it looks just like DNA connected to the tree of life.
So the tree of life, you mean with the bubbles, the bubble, all the way up. Is that evil?
Right. Yes. Yes, I believe that it is. I believe that it was created as a pathway to communicate with demonic entities.
Oh my!
I believe that's how.
I know nothing anymore. I have no clue what the fuck's going on. I have none. I'm just a windsock at this point.
No, you're not.
I'm so
okay.
lost.
So, all right. So, so the Queen, I had a feeling she was going to die in 2022 because of this. The day she died was 911 days after the pandemic was declared, which was also 7,666 days after 9/11. You know.
Oh my God.
I mean, how in the world could that be a coincidence?
So you said that there's a proper way to worship the good God. Is that what you said earlier? Along the lines of that? What is that?
Right.
How do you do that?
Well, I believe the story of Christ is true. And I believe the occultists believe it too, because I believe that they are warring with the God of the Bible. In the book called The History of Freemasonry, Albert Mackey writes that Masons were the original builders of the Temple of Solomon and the Tower of Babel. And, you know, what a thing to claim. The Tower of Babel is the structure created to kill God ultimately. And I believe that that is what they are attempting to do now with the knowledge that they are obtaining through their practices, which I believe is real. I believe that's how, you know, people come to the conclusion that we have to be living in a simulation, because they're like, how do they line everything up so perfectly? You know, well, I believe that this is all demonically inspired. And Kabbalist, what a Kabbalist does is learn about this pattern that's been here all along. And they set their rituals to it. A perfect example of this is President Biden. We've lived through several really significant celestial events. One of the most significant was the great Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, which occurred in 2021. This also fell on the winter solstice, so it was the darkest day of the year. And it was this historic Saturn conjunction, which hasn't occurred in 800 years. Well, this was the day that President Biden chose to take his first vaccine at exactly 322.
Oh my God.
And you know what 322 is, 322 skull and bones, right?
Oh man.
Well, not only that, but this was also 9 months and 11 days after they declared the global pandemic on 3/11. Now, the reason why 3/11, before COVID hit, I was very alarmed that they were planning an event. I took social media and I told my friends that they're planning an event for 3/11/2020. And that's the day they declared the pandemic. And the reason why, there are many reasons why I thought that, but one interesting aspect of what it symbolizes is 9/11 on the wheel of the year. The polar opposite of 9/11 is 3/11. Okay, so it's like it's opposite. So you have that connection. And 3/11, of course, is 3 times 11, which is 33, which, by the way, is Joe Biden's text number, 3033. And, the conservatives were sharing the meme that if you divide 2020 by 666, you get Joe Biden's text number.
What?
Which, that's all they hear is the 666. They don't recognize the 33 because they don't understand that Satanism and Freemasonry and all this, and the Jesuits and the Catholic Church is all part of one cult, just wearing different hats. All they hear is Satanism, so they've been primed to equate the left with evil, and they don't understand that it's actually the same cult that Donald Trump is involved in. Right.
There's so much chaos.
But the interesting
what's going on.
The thing about the Templar cross, what is the Templar cross? Okay, so it's just a cross like this, and it represents the equinox. 322 is the spring equinox. All right. And I just learned this. This blew me away because this is something I suspected all along. When they switched over from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, they had to skip 10 days. So 3/11 was the original spring equinox. 3/11 and 9/11 were the original equinox. All right. So this is what is represented on a Templar's cross. And, the person that influenced Donald Trump the most in his life was a Knights Templar. And if you look at the Sound of Freedom, which I believe is more Masonic propaganda to usher people to the light side of Masonry, the guy, Jim, what's his last name? Chavez?
Hold on. What did the one guy had some weird kind of symbolism on his shirt?
He had little square compasses on his tie.
Yeah.
But more significantly than that, in my mind, is the guy who played Tim Ballard in the movie named Jim. I forget his last name. He wears a specific Knights Templar cross. Okay. I went and watched the movie because I wanted to see the symbolism. At the very end of the movie, Jim comes out with a special message, and he's wearing this cross. And it can't be mistaken for anything else. It is a specific Knights Templar cross. And he's also one of the guys who covers one eye all the time, like all the celebrities do. And Sound of Freedom was produced by Angel Studios. Angel Studios also produced The Chosen. Well, the guy who played in The Chosen came out and openly admitted he was a Knights Templar. He posted it on his social media.
It's all sorcery.
The problem is Christian, because we are so uneducated on what all of these things are. The Christians hear the Knights Templar, and they might Google it and be like, "Oh, well, they're the protectors of Solomon's temple. Sounds nice." They recognize Solomon's temple from the Bible. So they just kind of equate it to it has to be some sort of Christian organization, whenever it is absolutely not. Jacques de Molay was the 23rd and final Grand Master of the Knights Templar. And he was, you probably know the story of Jacques de Molay, who was burned at the stake for practicing basically the same stuff that Aleister Crowley was doing. He was doing dark occultism. And that's why he was killed, if you believe the story. But the interesting thing is if you Google what day Jacques de Molay died, Google will tell you he died on 3/11.
So 3/11 is the real 9/11.
3/11, it's just connecting 3/11 to 9/11, which I believe the two events are symbolic of this belief of merging the pillars, messing with man's DNA, because I believe the pillars represent the double helix.
So do you think that Lucifer is Satan, or do you think Lucifer is a different entity than Satan?
No, I believe it's the same entity. I believe Lucifer and Satan are the same entity. It's just they're worshiping the light and dark aspect of Satan.
So interesting.
But whenever you get into Masonry, they lie about all of this. They purposefully lie to the low-level initiates about what all the symbolism means. I mean, of course they would. And so the people who rise to the top of Freemasonry are the people who are the most compromised.
I just realized something, and I just want to take a moment to recognize that Xavier Guerrero learned how to spell something better than I did. And as much crap as I give him all the time, he got Astania right, and I got it completely wrong. So respect to Xavier Guerrero. But
Babbel's working. Babbel,
you did great, bro. You did great. Respect to you, man. I have to give you your flowers when you are correct. And the reason I bring that up, because I eventually found it. And we live in the inverted reality, right?
Right.
So just think about what Borat tried to tell everybody about Kazakhstan. That it's a bunch of sheep herding inbred idiots. And then you look at their what's going on in their country. It's the exact opposite of that.
I am so glad you brought that up. I have had that exact same thought. I'm like, I can't believe this guy. He's got us thinking that this is like a dumpster
Holy
country,
cow, man.
when it's the exact opposite.
It is the great inversion. Right. It is the inversion. He just completely duped all Americans to think we're making fun of sheep herding cousin humpers. In reality, look at their whole cities, man.
Right. That's where the Pope is meeting with all the world leaders.
Dude, oh my
wow. 3D chess. This is like 3D chess.
This is like 5D chess. Yeah. This is like 90D chess. It's all an inversion.
Yes. Okay. And another layer of proof of what's going on here is, it all has to do with astrology. Okay. So I'm going to try to explain this. 2022 was the year of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Okay. The last time this happened was in 1856, a very long time ago. All right, let me tell you everything that happened in 1856. First of all, imagine 1856 in your mind. It's a cryptic 9/11. Okay, 1818 is 9, 56 is 11.
Oh my God!
Let me tell you everything that happened in 1856.
What?
If you the castle that the Queen died in was established in 1856. The Russell Trust Association, which is where we get Skull and Bones, was founded in 1856. Let's see, there's a whole bunch of these.
No, I mean, okay. Dude.
All right, here's
the presidential election. The presidential election as well.
No, I don't know about that, but
no.
The image Baphomet. Baphomet was first drawn by Eliphas Levi in 1856.
What?
And Baphomet is a symbolic representation of their dualistic religion. That's all it is representing dualism. And I could not believe this. When I was recently in Washington, D.C., I went to Alexandria. That's where Washington's Masonic Memorial is. Well, really, in that same city is where Werner von Braun is buried.
What?
Wow.
So I went to see his grave site in person. And I don't know, I just think of these things because I know how significant dates are. The cemetery Werner von Braun is buried in was established in 1856. So it's like, it's unbelievable because that's the Saturn Neptune conjunction. This great war with Russia invading the Ukraine happens in the year of this conjunction. In the Super Bowl, the commercials for it, Arnold Schwarzenegger played Zeus, which is Jupiter. Okay. And in the same commercial, Neptune makes an appearance. So you have Jupiter and Neptune in a Super Bowl commercial in the year of a historic Jupiter and Neptune conjunction.
Dude, that's so crazy. I looked up everything that happened in 1856. One of the things, Jupiter and Neptune conjunction was last seen in 1856.
Yeah. Yep. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you know his family history, his father was an SS
100%
Nazi. Okay. And he wears a skull and bones. He wears a skull necklace. And I believe it's in reference to Skull and Bones. And the very first concentration camp was opened on 3/22, 1933. And the symbol that the SS wears on their hat is a skull and bones. So I believe it's all just one, I believe the Nazis were part of this satanic dark arts. He was like a dark adversarial figure.
Oh my God.
So this might be like on a whole different like tangent, but satanic wise, I don't know if you know Kat Von D, but she just became a Christian. She just got baptized. Do you think there's a reason for that? Because I mean, she was the main person for goth and emo, and she just became Christian, which is great. But it's like, where did that come from? I was surprised. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I don't want to ever say someone's conversion is not real or anything like that, but I'm also really suspicious on how the Christian conservatives are being manipulated right now. There's a lot of Christian propaganda with these movies that are very clearly being produced by Freemasons. So I'm, I don't want to say that it's not genuine, but I'm like proceed with caution, because I feel like one of their strongest weapons is manipulating the Christian conservatives in this country for whatever their next little move is. You have to have a strong, great leader to have the population follow that leader into something. People are not going to follow Biden anywhere, but people.
So you're saying they're corralling everybody into Trump,
right? Yeah,
which I felt before.
Right.
This is theory. He just keeps beating these cases, and they just keep losing, and it's just like, nothing's sticking, nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that Christ has had 5 mortal wounds, and I believe Trump has how many now? 4. So I bet you he'll get one last one.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And it's it's all tip of the spear. Christ was killed. The final wound was a spear, and Trump Tower is in the shape of a spear. And Sound of Freedom, the Tim Ballard's, his organization is called Tip of the Spear. So I believe it's symbolic of them believe that they are going to kill the God of the Bible. Ultimately, that's the long. People need to zoom out, like way out, get things in perspective. I believe the United States was created to ultimately build this third temple. So,
well, El Dorado, who has got me the ball rolling into Christianity for me, talks about the Bible, talks about a war between the pagans and the lost tribes of Israel, which he believes is the Israel, the UK, England, and America versus the pagans, and the pagans win in this story through the Bible. And it's very interesting. I got to ask you something before we go, Susan. How do you live in this society when you know all this stuff? I get asked that all the time, but you're even deeper than I am. And how do you function in this world of deception?
Well, I would have to give credit to my faith for all of that. But whenever I was first discovering all this stuff before the pandemic hit, it hit me really hard because I had to really calibrate, and it's a lot to process. So I struggled with it quite a bit around 2020. But since then, I have, become friends with a handful of folks who have a similar worldview, and we are very supportive of one another. And I've learned more and figured out more. And I'm just, I know what the ultimate goal is, and I feel like it's a spiritual war. And I feel like I know where my soul is going whenever all this wraps up. So I find peace in that. But I just basically look at it as an adventure now, because there's not a day that's boring. Everything is just so fascinating to me, and I really enjoy helping others see what's going on here, because I feel like I've been given a little bit of a gift of understanding, and I've been able to, in my own way, kind of share with others what's going on here. But I do like to de-emphasize the fear aspect, because I believe they want us to be afraid. The conservatives are just totally eat up with anxiety over what Biden is doing. They feel like this country is just going into the dumpster because of all of everything Biden's doing.
Do you not think it's going into the dumpster?
Well, I do, ultimately, because I believe that the United States was created as an atonement sacrifice. In the Kabbalah, the text for Kabbalah is the Zohar, and the Zohar prophesies that Edom, which is equated to the United States, will fall before their messianic figure arrives. So I do believe that the plan is to collapse the United States eventually. But I've accepted all of this. And
how do you prepare?
I prepare by trying to keep myself healthy. That's my main message, is for people to tap out of their system, to not eat their food, not take their vaccines, to minimize how you spend your money with them, to try to be more self-sustaining in many ways as you can. I'm not like a prepper. I don't believe that there's any way that we can plan for whatever is the the next chapter. I mean, I have the bare minimum prepped, but I really don't think that there's a way that anyone can prepare for what's coming. But I'm not anxious about it. I've just kind of accepted it. So
it's interesting times, man. Interesting times. Gotta get right with God. Gotta get right
yes,
with God.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's what we all have to do is just prepare yourself spiritually, because that's what they're after anyway.
Have you ever heard that the day of rest is Friday and not Sunday?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not rigid on that kind of stuff. I just try to stick to one day a week where I rest. And
I gotta get to that. I gotta get to that.
I work for myself.
Sundays, Fridays.
Right.
I mean, I gotta work.
It usually ends up being a Sunday, which maybe
I don't go on the road and I just love the Lord. Love
right.
the Lord. Stay home on Fridays. Do a Saturday early important. Show. Hope and pray. Dude, interesting, Susan. As always, you come and you completely foobar my brain, and then I question my reality. So I appreciate that. But it's always more pieces to the puzzle. I've always said the world is ran by sorcerers trying to detach you from God. Now the question is, we just have to figure it all. Just have to figure it all out. We have to figure it all out. But everything you're saying is lining up to what I believe. And it's interesting times, man. Susan, one more time. Tell them where they can find you.
Oh, I'm Susan Harrell, HARRELL.com. That's to view my artwork, or you could check out my Instagram account at Susie Q's, SUZIECUES_. And I'm also launching a Patreon. I haven't announced that yet, but I'll be launching that soon, and it will be under the same name, Susie Q's. And that's all sites now.
All right, Susan, you came, you saw, you dropped the hammer of the God on us, so we appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you can put together your brain after this, because it's been quite an experience, a lot to digest, and I hope you got a lot out of it like I did. Again, go to SamTripoli.com for all of my dates, all my premium content. You can clip banners there. Rockfin.com's all there. All the t-shirts. We got a new t-shirt coming out, which is Yahweh of the Highway. That's going to be available on SamTripoli.com. All our affiliates programs, all that stuff. You'll hear all about that coming up now, and also some highlights from our show, my other shows. Please enjoy the highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. So we hit Mitch McConnell when this happened.
Yeah.
We got to hit Biden. Biden just kind of went full dipshit during a speech the other day.
I hope this experience for the speaker has been one of a personal revelation. I'm not being facetious.
Like he's in a soup of chaos. His brain is soup.
Look at him.
Anyway.
Like, dude, like, why are we...
Wait, listen to how that
I'm
sentence...
not being
Hold on, this is what
revelation. I'm not being facetious.
He's lost it. It's gone. It's gone from his brain.
Anyway.
That's it. I mean, like, what? Oh. So, Dianne Feinstein finally kicked the bucket.
Dude, this shit's nuts.
And the Democratic Party asked for Gavin Newsom, who has the authority to appoint someone to replace her until the end of the term, to appoint one of the people that's actually running for the seat. Instead, he decided to make a political statement and appoint a an LGBT black woman, the only black woman in the Senate right now, which is just, I mean, she's got connections to Kamala Harris. She worked on her campaign. She's got no chance to actually win the seat in the election, I would guess.
No, Johnny, that's not even the craziest part. Do you know what the craziest part is? She doesn't live in California.
That's kind of a problem.
She lives in Maryland.
California Governor Gavin Newsom will appoint LaFonza Butler, the president of Emily's List. Yeah, that's her name. LaFonza.
Your name is The Fonz?
LaFonza. Yeah, you're right. LaFonza. Yeah.
Hey!
To fill the late Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat, his office confirmed Sunday, Butler will become the first out black lesbian to join Congress. That's what it's all about right there, according to Newsom. She will also be the sole black female senator serving in Congress and only the third in U.S. history. This is against, we should say, the will of the Democrats. The Democrats did not want her to be the choice. But
of course.
Newsom was just like, nah, we're doing it.
It's all a demoralization campaign.
That's it, man. That's it.
They're demoralizing you. That's all they want. This makes no sense. That's why they're doing it.
For women and girls, for workers and unions, for struggling parents waiting for our leaders to bring opportunity back to their homes, for all of California.
Nobody wants opportunity for Californians from somebody in Maryland, okay? Nobody wants that. Go back to Baltimore and F yourself, lady. Go F yourself. Dumb. I mean, this is, and every time you think that Gavin Newsom is trying to make moves to come off as not a completely unhinged psycho, he pulls a black lesbian from Maryland out of his ass.
Like, what is he thinking? He's so
I just
so
sent
liberal.
You something.
So while I'm waiting on that to come up,
all right.
Speaking of opportunity,
I gotta go.
So. This number blew my mind.
Yeah.
So we hear a lot of talk about how, like in the Barbie movie, this was the context I heard somebody talking about the Barbie movie, that hiring by corporate America has been biased, and they're not hiring enough minorities. Listen to this number. Sam, I got to get you on board with me. Can you just look at me for just a second and not whatever you're doing over there? The year after the Black Lives Matter protests, the S&P 100, those are the biggest companies, 100 biggest companies, added 300,000 jobs, more than 300,000 jobs. 94% of those jobs went to people of color. Think about that.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So
what are we talking about now?
So have you heard about this, Johnny? They're talking about this new Writers Guild deal.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of the diversity hires.
Really? Oh.
Because what they're trying to do is get rid of the woke. And they're talking about how all the woke is coming from the young writers, and how I watched this YouTube channel on it. I didn't see it, but I think it was Jeremy from the Quarterling was talking about it. But he was like, they've read the deal, and the deal is basically like get rid of diversity hiring because woke shit's killing us. What they really are saying is like they're going to get rid of all the diversity.
That's
hiring.
what this story says. Yeah, it says. This is Hollywood.
Did you write down that time?
I did.
Okay.
Hollywood screenwriter explains how woke diversity hires will be out of jobs under new WGA deal. Screenwriter The Script Doctor recently asserted that woke diversity hires will be out of jobs under the newly minted deal that the WGA signed with the studios. During an appearance on Midnight Edge in the Morning, Script Doctor shared his thoughts.
That's it. Hey, guys, you guys know tinfoil hats for the people. We want people to live a better life and get stuff in positive, vibrational stuff in their life. So we want to tell you about some of our affiliate programs real quick. We got Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver. If you're looking for precious metals, these are the best in the business, okay? I'm part of this Wise Wolf package program. I spend a certain amount of money every month, and they send me precious metals, and I love it. It's a great way to get ready for the financial collapse. We have AquaCure hydrogen brown gas. Listen, we've talked about before. If you want to look younger, it's a great way. Check it out. You click the banner. You use the promo code tinfoil hat. Our friends at Harley Ray candles and crystals. Go check it out. If you use Swarm 15, you'll get 15% off. They got candles. They have click on it real quick.
Sage.
They got crystals. They got everything you might need. And all you gotta do is use the promo. Look at that one right there. I want to get that aqua blue. I should just ask them to send it to us. Aqua blue at $55, promo code Swarm15, you get 15% off that. Very excited to be working with Tim James over at Chemical Free Body. That's right. Get 5% off all of his products, everything he's doing with the promo code Tinfoil Hat. I love his vitamins and nutrients. I take them all the time. They are the best, and it helps me get my body going. And if you're looking to lose weight, let's say you're a busy dad, busy mom out there, go check out Joel Staley. He's helped me lose weight. He's got a whole program to lose weight, get in shape, all that stuff. Just click the banner and use the promo code Tinfoil Hat, 3 words, and you can get in shape. It worked for me. It can work for you. Hope you guys enjoy these, and check out the highlights.
And now, a highlight from Cash Daddies.
All right.
I'll tell you one of the most interesting stats that I heard today, and this I wouldn't have never put 2 and 2 together. So you got that drug Ozempic that all those people, all you guys in California are taking it, slimming down.
I'm not
taking Ozempic. Well, think of a sector that's going to hurt.
The entire healthcare sector that banks on obesity?
No, the entire fast food industry. People are saying to short fast food companies now because Ozempic's going to crush it. You know, all those fat bastards that are, munching down 3 or 4 Big Macs a day, that's over with.
It does make me think that all of this news about how unhealthy it is might be a lie now because they're afraid of it and they're trying to put out negative press. I heard that there was an alternative coming to market too that was supposed to be had fewer side effects. That I think like Pfizer or somebody's bringing to market. I'll see if I can find that.
But I mean, that's an interesting statistic. Is if you got all the fat people that are taking Ozempic, and all of a sudden they're not eating Wendy's, Burger King, Kentucky Fried McDonald's. I mean, that is going to hurt those places.
Is it that widespread? You think? Are that many people doing it? Using it?
I don't, but you never know.
I don't know.
I can tell you one thing: the damn In and Out line still blocks traffic halfway around the block.
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's like they're giving out. Go on.
It's like there's a black midget giving out blowjobs to make you funny around in the In and Out line. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh my god, that's the best joke that was the best ever, dude.
Fat celebrities are taking Ozempic. A lot of fat celebrities.
I'm skeptical now of any rapid weight loss of a celebrity.
Yeah, I agree, dude. It's kind of weird.
But hey, dude, I'll be honest with you. If you like have tried everything, I mean, I don't have a problem with you doing. I mean, do what you want with your body, and if it works for you, good for you. If it makes you healthier.
But the biggest thing is like you have to work out. You can't just take this stuff and then not work out. I mean, you can, but it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get enough protein too, so you don't lose muscle while because they found that that's what Dr. Peter Attia, this great doctor, who has a lot of YouTube content. He was talking about how they found that a lot of people that lose weight on this, they're losing just as much, if not more, muscle than they are fat. So a lot of the weight loss is weight loss you don't want.
I mean, I wonder, like, let's say that, you're dating some 250-pound, 5'3" chick, like just a big bowling ball. And all of a sudden she starts taking Ozempic and she slims down, but there's no muscle tone. It's got to be just like loose skin.
Yeah, you look like a meth addict or something.
Yeah. It's got to be just tons and tons.
I mean, that's what they got to work on. They got to work on technology to get rid of that.
Well, they call it Ozempic face. It's because a lot of the youth in a face is from the collagen, it's like fat, I guess, in the face. You have that plump, like just a youthful look. And this shit breaks down the fat in your body so rapidly that people get this sunken in like skeletal look. Then they call it Ozempic face.
You're right.
And it
looks really uncomfortable.
It's just not it's not a healthy look.
That's healthy. Like, you look at a person that's done meth for a long time.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Is that kind of weird? Like if I do math, I'm unhealthy. If I do this, I look Hollywoodish. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean, got fucked up standards.
They've tried diet shit for pills and stuff for decades, but it looks like this one's working. I mean,
speed and all that shit in the 90s, fen and phentermine and all that shit, it worked. It just also gave you, heart problems. It killed you.
Hey, man, that's part of the, part of the glory, bro. No guts, no glory.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
I know my grandma got prescribed phentermine one time and she wasn't even overweight. She was like a little heavy, and her doctor just threw it. And I was like, hey, grandma, let me try that. I want to see what that's like that you're taking. Dude, it was speed. It was, and I looked it up. It's like, oh, it's a methamphetamine. It's an amphetamine, sorry. And it was, I could not stop talking for 24 hours after I took that shit. Phentermine.
I would love to have seen Tiny.
Well, my poor
Tiny
bastard,
Johnny Woodard tweaking balls with grandma.
My poor friend. No, I wasn't with. What happened was I took it and went to a concert with my buddy Chris, and we had to drive to Charlottesville, Virginia for like 3 hours. And I apologized to him after. I was like, dude, I don't know what
Johnny's
happened.
driving like you robbed a bank.
No, it's just me talking his ear off, dude. I mean, just the poor guy, the poor bastard. I just talked his ear off.
Johnny, did you try any of the business ideas you came up with that day?
No, it was mostly music. I remember now. I mean, this was in college, but I was mostly just talking to him about music and like all the influences of the bands we were about to go see. It's just really obnoxious shit.
Breaking it all down.
Yeah, dude.
So
really
hilarious.
Miserable. I was so embarrassed. But yeah,
But
it's pure speed, bro. Pure speed is what they were giving my grandma.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat.